Thank you very much for the introduction. I personally believe improving the human brain, giving it an upgrade, is the most important thing what we can do with our lives. And I'm happy to present you today the first specialized brain implant for Alzheimer's patients. I don't have to educate you about the challenge. Alone in the US, 6 million people have currently Alzheimer's. 1 out of 3 elderlies die with it. These are more than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined cases. And it's increasing fast. And COVID will have do its bad on top of it. So the problem we are facing today is still that we have nothing to cure and no effective treatment for this disease. So we have nothing to stop the decline for the patient in any way. Today, if you got diagnosed with mild cognitive impairment, you have an average 3 to 4 years until to a severe decline with Braingrade. And this is the one thing you should take from my presentation. We have the opportunity to give the families and the patients over a decade on top of it. For that, we are building the first specialized brain implant for Alzheimer's. It's a fully implantable neurostimulator to record and stimulate the neurons in the depth of the human brain. It's exactly the device that physicians and scientists are asking for so long. Currently, we are in the prototype stage. So how will the results with our device look like? Well, today, with no treatment, you have a severe decline, a fast decline, only a little bit slower, kind of with some drug treatments. We will give the patient kind of a bump in memory. And we will dramatically slow down the progress of the disease. How do we do that? First, we stimulate in the hippocampus and in the entorhinal cortex. Second, we are stimulating in the nucleus basalis of Maynard. For the hippocampus and the entorhinal cortex, we are following our lead scientist, Professor Hampson, who is at Wake Forest, has worked in this area for the last 3 decades. There are multiple animal studies, and there are also multiple and many in human studies that has shown results. But to summarize them, we see decrease in amyloid beta plaques, we see a promotion of neurogenesis, and most important for the patient, because he feels the outcome, is that we can improve the human memory. This effect is real. The second part, what we are doing, is a stimulation in the nucleus, in the basalis of Maynard. So we are tapping into the cholinergic center of the human brain. 128 animal studies, solid results from the field over the last 20 years showing good outcomes. And there are multiple in-human studies also over multiple years. And we are working together for our first study, together with the main center for the key studies you see here. So to summarize, the result out of that is we are restoring cholinergic tone, we have preservation of cholinergic neurons, we even kind of kickstart or kind of kick back in place the glucose metabolism. And very important for the patient again is that we decrease this cognitive decline. And we improve the memory performance. The left side, you see outcomes over 2 years. On the right side, it's a result after 10 weeks of stimulation. This is what the patient was capable of doing. He couldn't even draw a circle. So he had severe Alzheimer's. With 10 weeks of stimulation, this is the result we're finding. It was even so far that he could remember again the names of his children during the stimulation, what he couldn't do before. I think these are spectacular results, what we should all be made available for all Alzheimer patients. We have a team of the world-leading brain-computer interface companies and neurotech research centers together, from co-founders and their executives. We have an exceptional scientific advisory board, and you don't even see everyone here, and we have a neurosurgeon board. Talking about neurosurgeons, what has changed and why now is the time to bring such a device to the market is that they say implantation is solved. It's through reduction of operation risk and time, through robotic support and improvement of trajectory planning and navigation in the brain. Things you know. We just have today better technology, better access to data, and AI. We have a new way of how we can produce, and we have a new way and breakthroughs in material. We also understand the brain better, and we are finally going away from only the amyloid beta hypothesis for Alzheimer's disease. We even have earlier detection, so there is more to preserve. And we have a way better patient selection. Because one thing everyone knows about Alzheimer's, that Alzheimer trials are failing. And when we actually look deeper into the cohorts, we figure out that that's not true for all fields. That's mainly for drugs, but not so much for bioelectronics. And now then we have to ask us, why are there specialized devices for all the other cases, but not for Alzheimer's? And one reason for that is that so far we could reach and made these trials with devices who has been built for Parkinson's disease. But just to tell you one thing, they have been built for exactly the opposite, for suppressing brain states and not for enhancing them. So what makes us different is that we have a network approach. Every pupil, student learns. It's the memory network. Obviously, you need a network approach. We have special probes and electrodes, because until today and recently a few years, you always had to decide if you have a high resolution with the electrodes in the brain, these are the probes that are going in the brain, at the tip are the electrodes, or you have longevity. But through the help and with the material silicon carbide, we can combine that. After the lead from Felix Deku, who has been the former director of microfabrication at Neuralink. On the other side, the other 50% are the software and the explosion of data we would generate with the increase of electrodes and a massively increased amount of record capabilities of our device. Plus, we will close the loop for the data. We will close it on the electrophysiological side, so improve the treatment for every patient, but also with the patient on how he is behaving. This is led by Robert Etchington, the former co-founder of Paratromics, our team. We have built up on stimulation patterns what we have and what have been named by nature as the future of deep brain stimulation. We have done a first in-human proof of concept, and we are now preparing, I know you can read this instantly, for our first clinical study, what will start still in Q1. So the market and the opportunity here is massive, and I think this is also the right timing for you to invest, because the last good news for Alzheimer's had a massive increase in valuation. And it stays and will become a $2.8 trillion problem. Makes like a serviceable or attainable market of 111 billion. And I haven't talked about all the other neurological diseases the device could be used for. So it is the most expensive disease in the United States, and we can do something against it. Today, we've already raised pre-seed from exceptional investors like AIX Ventures and Mindrock VC. Today, we are raising our seed round. We want to bring further clinical validation with this money, and we will have the embodiment of the device. So we'll have the major de-risking steps done with that and create the data pipelines. Then we will go for a Series A for the design freeze and start feasibility trial. Please join that we could have given this lady, what is my grandmother, another decade, and I hope you join us on this journey. Thank you very much, and please get in contact.